Tonight on WTOP 10 Nightly News, find out who will be replacing Nancy Pelosi as Democratic House Leader.
A SUNY Oswego alumni will be the keynote speaker at the December commencement ceremony.
And why 2 teens have been arrested in Rochester.
WTOP 10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Damon Fletcher.
And I'm Reagan LePage.
U.S. House Democrats have made history with their chosen person to succeed Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi as their party leader. Following the loss of Democrats following the midterms, the now minority united to make a historic decision. Today, the party chose current caucus chair Hakeem Jeffries to serve as House Minority Leader next year.
The 52-year-old New York Democrat will be the first black person ever to lead a major party in the House or the Senate. Jeffries ran unopposed for the position and will oversee a Democratic minority in 2023 for the first time in 2 terms.
Mayor Billy Barlow announced that SUNY Oswego men's hockey team will be partnering with Oswego County to host a youth night. The clinic will take place on December 30th at 7 p.m. The entry for children will be waived with purchase of a parent or guardian general admission ticket. Free children slots are limited and will be given out on a first-come, first-served basis.
Compass Federal Credit Union will be kicking off the festive season with a holiday toy and food drive thanks to partnerships with the Oswego County Toys for Tots Compass donation bins that are already available throughout the Oswego and Fulton area and will be open for collection through December 16th. All canned food or non-perishable items such as canned meats, peanut butter, canned or dried soups, and macaroni and cheese are acceptable donations. For more information on locations of bins and other food drives, visit their webpage at www.compassfcu.com.
SUNY Oswego alumni Cameron E. Jones will be the keynote speaker at December commencement ceremony. The 2009 Broadcasting and Mass Communication graduate is currently a manager of a development for integrated content strategy for ABC News Studios. Jones has won multiple Emmy Awards for his work and in 2013 was awarded Most Valuable Player by ABC News for outstanding work.
2 13-year-old students were arrested yesterday for bringing a loaded revolver into school. The guns were brought into Dr. Alice Halloway Young School of Excellence, and 1 student was quickly detained by police. Investigation found another student was involved, and both were arrested. They have been referred to Monroe County Family Court for charges of criminal possession of a weapon.
The demand for food and cash assistance for low-income families in New York State is at highest levels in years. Experts believe the reason for this fueled by inflation and effects from COVID-19 pandemic. Experts also say it is impacted by the winding down of pandemic-assisted programs. 27-year-old Brian Boyd faced his sentence after pleading guilty to manslaughter for the 2021 hit and run death of Gone Girl actress Lisa Baines. Boyd was driving an electric scooter in an Upper West Side of Manhattan when he collided with Baines, where she then spent several days in the hospital under critical condition before passing away. Boyd was sentenced up to 3 years in prison for his convicted crime. Switching gears now to weather, Storm Team 10 meteorologist Eric Knutson joins us here in the studio.
Eric, it was windy out there today. What can we expect for the rest of the week?
Well, I can tell you that for tonight and tomorrow, it's not going to look very good at all. We have multiple weather threats in effect, including a big lake effect snow warning for here in Oswego County. We have strong winds with blowing snow later on, and those strong winds are going to persist for quite some time, as well as some lakeshore flooding. There is a lot more to it, and we will get to that after the break. But back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Eric. Coming up later tonight, a key vote that may decide the fate of the upcoming rail strike.
And White House forced to make a disclaimer and find out why. Oh my gosh.
flying. Look, do we got a diamond tester on? Yeah, that's getting bad. Yep.
10 out of 10 recommend on Yelp.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm your Storm Team 10 meteorologist, Eric Knutson. So we are looking at some warnings tonight, actually. Here over Lake Ontario, we actually have quite a bit of a gale warning, which just pretty much means very, very high-speed winds around Lake Ontario. And up here in Jefferson County as well as Oswego County, we are looking at actually coastal flood warnings, but there's an additional warning that is lake effect snow. Over here, again, in Jefferson County and Oswego County, but as well as over here in Lewis County and Herkimer County. You can even see a little bit into Hamilton County. We have a lake effect snow warning, and that will be lasting until late tomorrow. Snow accumulations we will be looking at over in Oswego. We are looking at up to 3 inches, where Watertown, actually, believe it or not, isn't going to be having that much snow with less than 1 inch expected. Over in Pulaski, they are looking at up to 6 inches, with Redfield up to 9. Syracuse, you're really not going to get much, but you are looking at less than ½ an inch. But let's get you prepared for the winter driving. Some things you want to be aware of is always check your tires, because if you have summer tires on, they're not very good for the snow. I really, really encourage you guys all to get winter tires if you can afford it. Always remove ice and snow from your car, because you never know. Sometimes the snow will freeze on the top of your car, and as you're driving, it will fly up over your car and hit the people behind you. But always be aware of skidding. You never know when you'll hit black ice. You'll never see it coming, and it'll just come very, very suddenly, and it's very hard to correct. So just drive slow, drive carefully, and just be cautious around especially if there's people around you. Looking at tonight's forecast, 10 p.m., we are looking at a stormy night, mostly rain with a temperature of 34 degrees. But when we move on to later that night, 2 a.m., it's going to turn into snow. This is where the lake effect band is really going to be very, very heavy with a temperature of 33 degrees. And that persists all the way up to 6 a.m. with still more snow. Tomorrow, afterwards, the snow will melt and will turn into rain later on in the day with a high of 39 degrees. We are expecting quite a bit of wind tomorrow with a sustained wind of 30 to 32 miles per hour and a 50 mile per hour gust. And let's take a look at your extended forecast. Tomorrow we're looking at, again, rain and snow. Friday is going to be mostly cloudy with Saturday being rain. Sunday, Monday are going back to regular temperatures. Back to Reagan and Damon at the desk.
Thank you, Eric. Paper shortages caused ballot issues for a county in northeastern Pennsylvania during the recent midterm elections. Today, results from this county were certified, ending the month-long impasse. Although results have been verified, many still want answers for the election day problems. The local district attorney is still investigating the matter.
2 people died after they were on board a small plane that crashed at the Torrance Airport this morning. First responders arrived to the scene around 11 a.m. Sources say the pilot was attempting to land the plane when it crashed, although the crash is still under investigation by Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board.
The U.S. House of Representatives has voted to avert a freight rail strike that could cripple the shipping industry. If the House passes it, the bill goes to the Senate, which will have to work fast before a tentative strike date of December 9th. Here's the latest on Capitol Hill.
The president made it pretty clear the repercussions, the ramifications for the country and for workers across the country if we don't get this done, if there is a strike.
The House of Representatives approved legislation in a two-part vote Wednesday to block more than 100,000 rail workers from walking off the job next week. The bill is now in the hands of senators who need to pass it before a strike set for December 9th. For months, there's been a stalemate between the workers' unions and the railroads reporting record profits last year, with one strike averted in September after a tentative agreement was reached.
Once the members looked at it, some of the unions ratified it. They said this is enough, but a lot of union members felt, particularly in the wake of the pandemic, that paid sick leave was something that they had to have.
President Joe Biden asked top leaders in Congress to get involved this week after previously being reluctant to step into the fight. But ultimately, he decided the economic upheaval a strike would cause couldn't be ignored. Business groups fear a freight rail strike would lead to widespread shortages of food and goods, to prices spiking and commuter train interruptions. One economic group estimates it would cost the U.S. economy $1 billion in just the first week. Unions say walking off the job is a last resort, but one they're willing to take so rail workers can get their demands met.
They work really hard, very dangerous jobs. Many of them work outside, exposed to the elements, to chemicals, musculoskeletal injury, and they need paid sick leave.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
The fate of the economy is now in the hands of the Senate. We are roughly 1 week away from the current strike date of December 9th.
The overall leader of Islamic State group al-Qurayshi was recently killed in the battle mid-October. This follows the death of his previous leader, Haji Abdullah, in the U.S.-led raid in February. The White House went on the record today to say that the U.S. had no involvement in al-Qurayshi's death. It is unclear why the announcement was made today, nearly a month after his passing.
After days of heavy rain in Paraná, Brazil, a huge landslide hit Highway BR 367. So far, responders have found 8 people in the mud, 6 survivors and 2 dead. Rescue workers have said the bad weather and remote location are complicating the search efforts. They have restored to using drones and heat detecting cameras in hopes of finding more survivors.
Coming up later tonight, Twitter is discreetly changing their enforcement on a certain policy.
And after the Black Friday weekend, holiday shopping is still ongoing. Find out how you can avoid big hits to your pockets.
When you look at the number of disasters in the U.S., chances are every area will deal with some kind of emergency in the next decade. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
I think you could build a house here with how many bricks are being laid in this game.
That is a rapid nosedive, and it is at the point of no return, guys.
Up to Dobson at the point. The cross-ice pass comes to Breeze, who's going to extend the lead to 3, but the Columbus Blue Jackets, they're not going down without a fight. Puck loose, out in front of net.
Welcome back to the best show on WTOP. I'm your host, Miss Meg Trivia, and I'm Donna.
We start things off in the pool as 4 members of the Oswego women's swimming and diving team have earned all SUNY honors. Oh, finally got that old music back. Welcome live inside the Outer Urban Studio for the newest episode of Sports.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
Let's get into your health and consumer news.
Long-awaited trial data on a potential treatment for Alzheimer's disease has now been published. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Geither has more on the study for those affected by Alzheimer's disease.
For those affected by Alzheimer's disease, it's been a roller coaster ride when it comes to potential treatments. Weeks after another therapy disappoints in clinical trials, new information about another treatment that its drug makers say shows some potential.
That's maybe one of the first medication we have that's such a positive result so far. But we have to be cautious about it.
Dr. Bebek Tusi is lead investigator of Cleveland Clinic's side of the study of lecanemab. Phase 3 results on the medication published in the New England Journal of Medicine suggest that at 18 months, lecanemab was associated with more clearance of amyloid, a protein associated with Alzheimer's, and less cognitive decline.
This medication, if it's approved, it's going to be for very earliest stage of Alzheimer's disease.
But there are still safety concerns. About 6.9% of those who took lecanemab in the trial discontinued use due to complications, including reactions to the infusions and abnormalities on their MRIs, such as brain swelling and brain bleeding. Overall, there were serious adverse events in 14% of the lecanemab group and more than 11% of the group that got a placebo. The researchers say longer trials are needed to determine the safety and efficacy of this potential treatment.
Of course, we're trying to find a better medication, and that can only achieve it if more people show interest in participating in clinical trials.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The FDA may change their blood donation policy. The agency specifically mentioned shifting to a risk-based testing for HIV. This change would allow gay and bisexual men in monogamous relationships to donate blood. The change is rumored to roll out during the coming months, and the current policy requires men to wait 3 months after sexual contact with another male, and before 2020, the wait is 1 year.
The CDC data shows that drug and alcohol deaths have been on the rise in people ages 65 and up. Deaths among seniors have more than tripled in the last 3 decades. Opioids were among the highest reported from drug-induced deaths. Although alcohol-induced deaths among seniors only make up less than 1%, death rates climbed from 17 to 20 per 100 people.
Under new leadership, Twitter says they will no longer enforce their long-standing COVID misinformation policy. Twitter did not formally announce the rule, but discreetly added a note on their website's COVID policy page, informing of the decision. During the pandemic, the website suspended more than 11,000 accounts spreading COVID misinformation. Elon Musk says he promises to restore previously banned Twitter accounts as soon as this week, potentially bringing back some of those 11,000.
The holiday season is seeing a great start. Despite inflation and economic concerns, new data this week shows Americans are spending more in record numbers. Well, other reports show they're not feeling good about the state of the economy. Here's Jen Sullivan with more on your holiday season spending.
The holiday shopping season is in full swing, and while Americans are spending in record numbers, they're also not feeling great about the economy.
Many consumers are telling us that this is a really important time of year for them.
A new report from Adobe Analytics found online Black Friday sales in the U.S. set a new record, with sales reaching $9.12 billion. That's despite inflation, higher interest rates, and recession fears. National Retail Federation says despite all that, Americans are still eager to shop.
62% said that spending around the holidays is critical for them. It is a priority so that they can make these celebrations meaningful for themselves or their families.
Meanwhile, new data released Tuesday shows U.S. consumer confidence fell in November to a 4-month low, indicating Americans are feeling gloomy about the economy. And financial experts warn if you don't rein in your finances, you'll end up with too much holiday debt.
It's so easy to go overboard at the end of the year.
Latina money expert Janice Torres has these 3 tips. 1. If you haven't already, create a sinking fund and stick to that amount earmarked for holiday spending. 2. Make a shopping list, trim it down, and decide who will get gifts from you this year.
So you're not just kind of shopping ad hoc and then realizing maybe I overspent, maybe I didn't need to buy all of these gifts.
And 3, use cash savings apps that allow you to make money while you're spending money.
These are apps that you can download that basically will give you points or cash back whenever you make a purchase online.
For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
These tips for holiday shoppers comes less than a week after Black Friday, which showed a significant number of shoppers hit the stores for special deals.
WTOP 10 Sports Director Thomas Turgeon joins us in the studio tonight.
Thomas, what's the latest in Laker and pro sports?
Reagan and Damon, thank you as always. Coming up after the break, we take a look over at Max Zeal from last night, as well as a preview into the Bills' Thursday night football matchup against the New England Patriots. All this and more coming up after the break.
Athletics. Aaron, there were 6 big points. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland.
Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchups for
Half of the Lakers' goals this entire season.
Offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals.
Welcome to Understood.org, a free online resource for parents of kids with learning and attention issues, with personalized recommendations, tools, and daily access to experts to help your child thrive. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Thomas Turgeon with your Wednesday night sports report, and it was a busy one. We'll kick things off in Max Zeal Gym, where the Oswego State women's basketball team has now won 7 in a row to open up the year. The Lakers would open up SUNYAC play with a close victory over the Fredonia Blue Devils by a score of 76-66. Oswego would be led by Carly Leo with 23 points, as followed by Diamond Pickett with 16 points and 10 rebounds. Sean Pinkerton and company will be back in action on Friday at the Zeal to take on Brockport. Well, we keep things at the Zeal, though, as the men's team also faced off against Fredonia last night in a late-night matchup. The Fredonia men's team, however, would be dealt the same fate, as the men's team took the beating on the Blue Devils by a score of 79-60. Oswego transfer Cartier Bowman was the bright spot for the Lakers last night with a double-double, having 22 points and 12 rebounds to contribute on both ends of the court and secure the victory. Oswego will have a quick turnaround going into Brockport on Friday before going on the road to Buffalo State on Saturday. Well, we traveled to the road where the Syracuse men's basketball team went to Champaign, Illinois to face off against the number 16 Illinois Fighting Illini. The Orange could not catch a break in this low-scoring affair as they trailed only by 7 going into halftime before Illinois came out exploding and dropped 43 points to the Orange's 21 to secure the 73-44 victory. The Orange, now losers of really 3 in a row, look to snap their streak on Saturday at Notre Dame. Well, the Thursday night matchup we have all been waiting for is finally upon us, as the Buffalo Bills will face off against the New England Patriots down in Foxborough tomorrow night. The Bills look to bump their win streak to 3 and take the lead in the AFC East race. The Patriots, on the other hand, look to find the win column after being edged by the Vikings on Thanksgiving. Kickoff scheduled for 8:15 and can be viewed on Prime Video. And the New York Islanders were also in action last night, taking off against the Philadelphia Flyers, looking to get a huge 2 points in the Metro. First period, Islanders on the two-man advantage. Dobson to Nelson to Barzal, back to Dobson with the 1-T clapper. Islanders take a 1-0 lead. Barzal with his 24th leading assist and 26th point. Just about a minute later, Philadelphia still on the PK. Ketz and Zedlak on 2-on-1. A nice block by Pulock, but the opposing 6 cleans it up. It's Travis Sanheim. Philadelphia with their second shorthanded goal on the year. All things squared at 1. Midway through the first, Zedlak on the draw again. Kevin Hayes finding the back of the net on the one-timer. Makes the lead, Philly 2-1. Late in the third period now, Islanders looking to get things even. Provorov to Kevin Hayes looking for his second. He would get it, send it from half ice, give the salute upstairs to the big guy in the sky, his brother Jimmy Hayes. The late Jimmy Hayes. Philly takes this one 3-1. Ilya Sorokin with the loss and 30 saves. Carter Hart, on the other hand, with the win in 23 saves. Philly gets their 8th win of the year and snaps a 10-game losing streak. On the other hand, they stay at home to face off against Tampa Bay tomorrow at 7. The Islanders handed their 9th loss of the season and lose their 4-game winning streak. They get a day's rest at home and try and bounce back against the Preds on Friday. Nonetheless, 2 streaks being broken last night, 1 positive, 1 negative.
Thanks, Thomas. We'll stay right here on WTOP 10.
We'll bring you our final story of the night right after the break.
Hey guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. For our final story of the night, we have 2 furry friends for you to meet.
Say hello to kittens Paprika and Nutmeg, who are the Oswego Humane Society's pets of the week.
In a press release, the Humane Society says that the sisters are full of life and love and must be adopted together.
The society also says Nutmeg's eye was removed at a young age due to an eye infection, but she does not seem to mind.
That's all for tonight. Be sure to stay tuned for the Kinda Late Show.
Thank you for